Hey guys, Sonny here. How you guys doing? Doing good? I know. I'm gonna move you back away. Kind of like, I'm trying to think logically where sound deception would go. I would talk like this, so maybe I'll go from the side directly on. Hey guys, okay. We're doing a drawing tutorial. Drawing with Sonny. How y'all doing? Doing good? That's good. I came back from class. I am ready to stream. I'm gonna separate the chat room just so I could actually be able to see it just a little bit more efficiently. Pop out chat. I just need to tell people on Instagram that I'm live, and then we'll start, okay? It's nothing crazy and stuff. I'm just gonna show what I know. Add to my story. I'm on, that's it. Streaming. How you guys doing today? When you asked Isaac, I wasn't even at the house as far as I remember. It's not that I didn't want to join. It was just I was never told about stuff like this, you know, until it's about to happen. Which, you know, that's kind of understandable because it's gonna happen that time. I was busy. Okay, now that I'm back, we're gonna doodle with Sonny. Before we start, for the people that digitally draw, this glove, it's my favorite thing on this world. On this world, not in this world. It's not in the world. It's on the world. This glove helps it where when you draw, it smoothly goes around, so you don't like get your hand friction stuck and you don't lose like your motion. Like if I draw right now, I could draw a little bit of a decent circle. That was a terrible circle. You don't hold the thing like that. All right, now that I'm back, all right, we're gonna cancel this. So one of the main things, I mean, this is going to be the first time trying to teach someone to draw, or at least teach wider around people. It's different when it's one-on-one, but so when it comes to drawing and stuff like that, you hear it out 1,000 times, and it's true. Practice. Practice is what makes perfect. That's one thing you just got to keep getting used to. If you don't, I have a bunch of old drawings. If I could have reached it right now, I would show y'all right then and there, but I don't even know where under my bed it is, but it's there. So we're just gonna start. We're gonna zoom in very closely. So whenever you're drawing a person, like most commonly, it's gonna be a person. So actually, what we're gonna do is we're gonna split it in half. So we'll do half and half. We're gonna do. Ignore this. I'm just getting things set up. I'm gonna do big brush. Ew, that was horrendous. We'll go here, here. We're gonna press. Not this, not this. Where's like the one button that I didn't know you could do that. Perfect, half and half. That's all I care about. So ignore the layers and stuff. I'm gonna teach you guys like if I'm drawing on paper. So you got to keep that in mind. Like I'm drawing on paper. So this is gonna be head. It's terrible at drawing on here. Body. That's like the main two things. The others will be like head, like not the head or body, but it'll be like kind of like the arms and the feet and stuff like that. That's the toughest thing to draw. That is agreed upon. Don't at me. All right. So now that we're back on here, for people that digitally draw, I usually tend to use a red color. It's like a standard thing. It's like, yeah, you could use any color, but I don't know. Red just kind of makes me feel like I could be a little bit more scientifical about it. So, you know, I'm just giving you an idea. This is kind of like the brush I'm gonna use, the thickness and stuff. So whenever you're starting any drawing, or at least when I start any drawing, it's always the same circle. Doesn't even matter if it's perfect or not. Remember, this is this one thing. Keep in mind, this is a sketch. So when you're sketching and stuff, you're gonna have to you just gotta keep getting used to thinking like it's a sketch. You don't have to perfect it. if anything, you're building off of this sketch. Like, heck, I don't know what I'm about to draw, but I'm about to draw it. So we're just gonna reform it because I put it at the perfect area. It's just a head, so I don't have to worry about like quality or anything. Anyways, so when you're drawing a head, you know, you start with a circle. Usually, depending on like the perception, you could kind of how I do it. There's different ways to do it. Like there's like the traditional like kind of like the axis here, and you know you would kind of form off that axis. And then there's stuff where you just kind of start shaping the head off the back. But you know if you're on this tutorial, most likely you're not able to do that. So there's two ways I'm gonna show it. So I think the best way to show you guys would probably be probably like I'll just do it by the axis, the traditional axis. So you know, I guess I don't have an idea what I'm about to draw first, so maybe we'll have a person looking at the camera smiling like kind of like this. Okay, well you guys are seeing like this. So we start with that axis. So the line goes down the middle at a curve because it's not symmetrical that I'm doing. I'm gonna do it at an angle. I'll do a straight one if you guys want to. No. So you know when it goes to the curve, you kind of have to kind of go like this. Obviously, when you're dealing with deception and perception, you don't have to worry about getting it right the first time. You just got to get an idea of where the head's gonna be at. So then, like you know, I'll add my input. I always kind of symmetrically go from each side of the head to go depending on the angle. Because you know, like you know, for a person, a character, stuff, the jawline kind of it's kind of like symmetrical from where it's at. Like if you guys get my hair like up like this, the ears are this way, and it goes down, and the lines would keep going this way. But at least at some point, you just break off the lines and just start forming the head and stuff. And you know, it doesn't matter how big the head is because you're not there yet. So usually, if you're sketching this, when you're sketching this, make sure that it's like you know, obviously like very faint. Like if I was to draw it and stuff like that, like if I'm drawing it here, like if I had like a red pen, so I would draw it light enough where it looks kind of like that, where it's like faint enough. But you know, I'm digital right now, so I would love to show you guys on paper, but I don't even know how to formally show you guys without it like looking messed up or anything like that. That I have to look into. So we're gonna get like, so let's think next. Because, you know, I'm trying to do it in a way that makes more sense to you guys instead of, like, me just doing, like, okay, we're just going to put this, we're going to put this, and I, we're done. No, I don't want to do that. So, I would think next would be more like the head construction. Because at least if you get the head construction, then you can worry about the inside of the head, the face and all that. So, we'll make a guy. So, you know... Like, you know, if you're sketching and stuff like that. You know what? I'm going to treat layers like sketching. So this is like the first layer, the really faint one. So for the digital people, you see the blue thing directly above me right here. Click, you know, you would make another layer on top. And for other people that's normally drawing it, you're just drawing a little darker. So this was just a really faint drawing to get used to. So, you know, this would be like a kind of a semi. I'm just showing the color, so... You know, this will be kind of like, then you use that to kind of like form the head. So, you know, you follow the axis. The axis will be kind of right around where the eyes are. And depending on what character or what genre, like if you're drawing like anime or you're drawing actual people and stuff, we'll draw actual people. So, you know, most times, depending on if you have like a character thought down, they're going to have a cheek regardless. But depending on if you get like a sharp tonement, or if like just a casual look, like up here would actually be where the eyes would be. So you know, you gotta think in advance beforehand, like what you want to draw before you draw it. Like me, I'm professional enough where I don't know what the heck I'm gonna draw. I'm just gonna know I'm gonna make it through. So you know, like if you have like if you're not sure about the first one, then you know you could either erase it or you could kind of make another one that kind of mirrors it, you know, as closely as you can. I'm just jumping through layers and stuff. And then, you know, you would kind of go around here. You would, because, you know, this area is going to be where the eye is going to be at, the general eye. And, you know, you would kind of follow down on the chin. You know, obviously, remember, this is all sketch. So anything that goes by, you can always make better. You draw as faint as possible, but enough for you to get not only detail, but enough where you can actually draw over it and be able to differentiate a little bit. So we'll start on the other end here, which since we're at an angle, this is like the foreground and this is like the background here. I'm gonna leave that there. So the cheek is a little bit more noticeable here, but the chin would kind of be at an angle because it's kind of a visual thing. When you're drawing, you kind of get another visual, so the line actually start reforming here. So I'm just very terrible at slowing down and it's showing you guys, but as long as you guys get the idea, that's the main thing. At least I'm gonna show you how I do them and stuff. I do have a technique for drawing the hands and feet and stuff. Maybe not as good on the feet, but the hands is definitely, because you don't really draw feet a lot. Not a lot of people. That's why it's always hands, because hands is just something you have to have. So we're back. Okay, so this would be the eye here. Right here would be the nose. So there's always a couple ways to draw the nose, but we're not going to worry about that just yet. So we're just going to finish off the head because we don't have to. We'll just follow the how it's formed and stuff. So that's like a simplistic look. If you're sketching, you're faint enough. So I'm going to just try to keep it going by just adding more tougher colors. So, yeah, that's a little bit more. We'll go up a little bit more, like maybe not there. That should be good. So like right here, we could we'll start like on the physique of like the face. So we're still sketching fairly low and stuff. If you have different, like, depending on how whatever you have, if you have a pencil, I'm going with the prime basis, like you're gonna have like a pencil and paper, which is the simplest thing. If you have like colors and stuff, like there's artists pencils that's kind of like a blue and stuff like that. You can kind of get it faint. You can kind of differentiate them a little bit. So you kind of use the blue or the black and stuff like that. Depends on how your preference of sketching goes. That's depending on you and stuff. But I'm drawing as simple as like pencil and paper, which that's a lot of people. So actually I'm gonna go back and actually sketch like a triangle. So from this base here, and like the closest one here. So we'll go this way. So we'll go on the background, and we're just kind of getting an idea where it would be at. This is just the idea, so it's not like we're just slowly adding details. That's the thing you guys got to keep in mind when you're sketching. You're gonna have a lot of erasing. The only reason why this looks good is because it's on digital and stuff. So. That's really the case. One of the main cases. Some people could actually sketch, and I could actually sketch and it would look horrendous. Like this one's actually kind of terrifying. So this is the brighter one. So we can start focusing on the face and stuff. We're gonna get a little closer. I'm not gonna. I mean, you could churn. Actually, no. If you have a pencil, if you have a brush, you could churn it. I'm gonna churn it a little bit, generally directionally. So like if you have your own stuff, then you could just turn to paper, simple as that. So you just want to make sure I can connect to not only the people that are doing like pen and paper, but they're also doing like digitally and stuff. So we could do it like, okay, so you got to start somewhere. So I think the best thing we would do would be the nose, because the nose is like the middle physique out of everything. I think we'll get into that. Hold on. Hold your breath. Like right here. The nose would probably be a good start. Obviously, this is a sketch, so if anything, you still go in light and stuff. I mean, it's how you'd break it off. Usually it would be like the head general construction. I'm just being a little bit more specific for certain parts and stuff like that, just so I could see it a little better. But if you're drawing it, I would suggest you go with the circle, the lines. Get like the construction first. Then I'll go a little bit darker just to kind of get the facial physique in form of shape and stuff like that. There's many ways to do this shape, so I can't really give you a clarification unless I come back like next week or something like that and show a little bit more. So we'll start with the nose. So we'll kind of like, we're still sketching, so I'll put like the line right here. So, this will be kind of like the point where it's also connecting towards the eyes. So it's kind of like right. This is just kind of like a little idea, but we'll start with the line, kind of start here, So with the nose, depending on the shape of the nose, it would kind of go like, like this. And depending, you got to kind of look at the perspective too while you're drawing this. So the nose would kind of go over and kind of go down this way. It would go down this way. It would kind of like rest right here. You also have the, I forgot what these are called. This stuff right here. We'll put that a little bit on the side. So it's just enough to get the idea and to just making sure, you got the nostrils. You just gotta remember the perspective you're in. But remember, as long as you can keep focus on where things are, then you can kind of like make them a little better and stuff. But as of right now, I'm just trying to make it look enough. So with the eyes and stuff like that, like how I drew the line and stuff, it depends on like, if you can't follow it, then go back and follow like the head and just like make another formal lines that it would make. Probably like in the middle's kind of like the general idea where the nose is. And then there's like stuff right here where I think the forehead would be. Like forehead would be kind of like right there. I'm just gonna leave that there. And at usually when you have like a look and stuff like that, the eyes are kind of sunken, but like the casual look kind of has like the straight. This is kind of like right over, but it's kind of going in an inward axis. Generally speaking, for looks and stuff like that. You would just kind of like, you could kind of like box this middle section off and like kind of just make like a line, because this is not gonna be the first. This is not gonna be the first time we're just sketching and stuff, because that's what we're still doing. So you would be kind of like around in this little lower section, but another area would probably be like in the middle. I'm following the lines in the background. So I made a third line from the prior sketching area. You just gotta jump back and forth. I'm trying to do this without erasing. I mean, there's no problem with erasing, but if you're erasing, then you kind of have to like erase. Then you have the indent of that erasing stuff you pre-existing before and stuff. So you would kind of, the eyes kind of have like a, not exactly a lemon shape as a lot of people would do it, but it has like a I'm draw it over here. This is irrelevant, but towards the nose, like if the nose is right here, the eye would kind of go at like a more of a full. It would like be half a lemon, like this half of the side would be like kind of like a lemon look, and the other half would be like I don't know, a drop or a comet. It'd be more like a half of a droplet. Like this area is a little longer and stuff. And depending on how the eye look, like if it's kind of more of like a if you have more of a squint to it, then then it wouldn't be as long. Like it'd be like a really squeezed out lemon. Or if you're not like opening eyes, you're just kind of like settling like this. Give me a second. I'm gonna turn this light off. That didn't do a dang thing. I was trying to get the reflection off my eyes. So like if you have like the eyes kind of like the lemon, the other one will be like a longer tear, like a longer teardrop, a long drop. And the eyes would be kind of like roughly proportionate. So it'd probably be like 1/3 of the eye. You would have the iris in the middle. And depending on lighting, like if it's dark over here on this side, then it would be kind of darker over here as it slowly comes in a light, which would be like a simple construct of the eye. And if you ever have like a cartoony realistic thing, then you could make like the eye a lot smaller, like for a surprise look, and it would be like a little smaller. All right, that's kind of like a good general idea of it. That doesn't exist. That's not part of the art piece. Or maybe I'll leave it there. I'll leave that there. Just so people get the idea. So what? We'll draw another one. I'm just gonna do like a casual look. This side is half lemon, and this side is half. Let me draw a little bit more. Have teardrop, and we'll just do something like that. We'll do like a faint background, like sketch of an eye, because that's like irrelevant. So we're just gonna shade it off. There's always the eyes are always glossy and stuff. So you know I'm not gonna get into detail, but that's the idea. And then we'll just like put like a realistic nose. We're just gonna like do that. Nope. Once again, I'm actually gonna make it. I'm just doing it for anyone that jumps in the stream or you know after the stream. So we're just kind of gonna do a little bit of this and stuff. We're gonna do a nose, and then we're just gonna kind of go this, put like a little bit of details, just so people get the idea. But half lemon and half teardrop. That's how you gonna remember. So you know we're just gonna follow. I'm just gonna probably do the 2 drawings. I'm just gonna do. I'm gonna zoom out. So I'm gonna do like the head, the body, and then like maybe I'll just do the hands. And if you guys want to do the feet, then you know we could do that. But I'll do the hands and feet. Alright, so I'm just at least showing you how to do the heads. Usually in this order, if you're ever doing any picture, you're gonna start with the head always. Usually you're starting with the head always, because at least when you get the head, then you know what to look for in the proportions of the body, depending on the character, the style of the character, the style of drawing, and the preference of what you're looking for in body shape and construct. Those are like the 3 things you gotta look for whenever you're making the drawing and stuff. When I'm bored, I draw whatever I feel like. But when I'm serious, then, you know, I actually think the science of things. So now that we're back on the eye, after I've been talking for a while, we'll just kind of like do a line here. So we'll do like, you know, the lemon, because it's closer to the stuff. And then like a teardrop that's following the axis of the line. Depending on how thick or thin the line is will also depend how the eye looks. You know, this is just kind of, once again, forming the shape and stuff. But then, you know, you kind of go like this. Kind of go like this and stuff. It's, you know, it's... Like I say, it's a sketch. You don't have to get the best out of it. Then, you know, the eye is basically 1/3, depending on how big it is. Depending on how big the eye pupil is. And basically, you know, how big you want the eye to be. The smaller it is, the more, like, exaggerative it is. The bigger it is kind of like the more, I can't say dreamy, but like the more cuter, I like to say. I don't know who I'm drawing, but I guess I'll finish them, you know, the eye and stuff. You know, I just go with the iris and then the ring around it, just so you get the idea of where the eye is. You know, when you have like eyebrows, that's also dependent. So you have like, you know, if you have thick eyebrows, then you know where like they meet would be kind of like right here. Like even when your eyebrows are kind of like this, they never touch. So you just kind of have to go off of angles. I feel like at the end of this, I might be like, if you ever want a tutorial, I think in person will be also a good thing. Look at this person's thick eyebrows. We're just gonna kind of go off of like the form of realism, because you know I think realistic is what we want to go for, just to show you know, logically speaking. You know, you could think, like, you know, sketch eyelashes. Just, you know, you kind of get an idea of how you want to do it. Usually, I'm usually never drawing realistic, but there's always occasions I draw realistic and stuff. But, you know, it really depends on how you do things. And, you know, since we're here, we're going to jump down and use the second area. The ears is kind of like the ears is kind of like right to, like, the eye and the nose. That's probably the best way to tell you, at least in the center of those two. So from angle, we're just going to round off the top. And then we're going to kind of like, I'm guessing the age is young, so we don't have to like make like a really, like a gritty, like ears lob is this way and, you know, kind of all over the place. And there's like little indentations and stuff. We're not going to do that. Not yet, at least. You know, we're gonna go off this side. The other side of the face is like starts right here, so the eye would kind of go this way. I mean, I'm just gonna have to go by 2D because, you know, talking 3D would be a little bit more like, oh, you gotta go like this, you gotta wrap it around, you gotta go like this. You know, it's all right. We're gonna jump back to the sharper one. So we're gonna re-sketch the head, since now we have a better preference of the eyes and the nose. Oh yeah, we could draw the mouth too. So we'll go like the, we'll put, you know, there's always I'm always forgetting what these things are called, but it's like right here. So right where the nostrils meet, it like indents inward and stuff. At least for the here to the nose to the mouth, that to the top lip. That's exactly where it does an indent. So you know that's where it's kind of at. Depending, we'll probably won't have it like very like thick lipped. So you know I drew these cheeks earlier and stuff. So we'll kind of work with that. Everything you sketch and stuff like that that works with your picture, or at least help form the picture, you can kind of get an idea on. And if not, then you can kind of do little things like kind of shape one cheek to like the others, and just kind of like, you know, look back, get back, kind of look, be like, okay, maybe I'll add a little bit over here, so you're not so stuck up in the drawing and so drawn in there. So you know we'll probably go like right here would be like right outside would be right enough where it's just kind of casual. And you know we're going with the middle lip. The top one has like indentations and all that. The middle one's as standard as it gets, and then the bottom one kind of has a drip and stuff. So we'll kind of go from here, and then we'll kind of go like this. We're gonna bring this down here. You know, if you don't like it, which I kind of don't like where it's at, you can just erase it. You know, obviously the erasing is gonna have like a faint indentation, but you know, you would kind of like, I kind of have to experiment where it would be at least on your first try. Just kind of experiment. Remember, this is a sketch. This ain't the final product, and this ain't gonna be the final product of things that you would really be like working into and stuff like that. Especially if you're watching this video. I mean, there's a lot of people that probably is gonna watch this video that I know that would be like, yeah, I mean, I draw all the time, so you know, I just came to visit and stuff. You ain't all that, Sonny, which is that ain't what I'm trying to say. I'm saying I'm all that. I'm just want to show you all what I know, and I'm trying to work what rationally makes sense. So you know, we're sketching the middle section of the lip, not the top part of the lip or the bottom. You know, when you're doing the lips and stuff. The middle section here is kind of post casual. You know, that's like the middle one. So you know that would be like where the mouth is, the tongue is, or the teeth. That middle section right here. You know, when this one's when it's closed. So you know you would kind of have the end of the lip where it kind of has like a little indentation at the end, kind of like something like this. Now, if you have the top lip, then it kind of has like this like sway to the top depending on how thick the lips are. Like for instance, like like lips like mine. How you doing? No, like that would be kind of more like a little bit of a under but early over, and this one would kind of pop up, you know, and like kind of like a third of it will be kind of like the stopping point. That's when it starts kind of like swooping down and back up. And that was like a terrible like first drawing. And then like the bottom one, you know, you kind of do like closer towards like a quarters of it, and that will be like, this will be like the turning point when it goes down, and you know it goes up. So when you get to the second point, it's like cut down in half, and then you just connect it. So that's like that's probably like my best way to explain like probably making the lips. There's a lot of geometry in this. At least trying to make sure you get it right. I actually recently did a 3D decu and stuff like that. Give me 1 second. Just gotta check something. Mom's talking to me. Sorry. Anyways, so we're gonna go back to our real drawing and stuff. We'll do this. We'll just do like a normal, sketch. Keep that in mind. That's the thing in the back. Sketch. There. Sketch. So, you know, the top lip is kind of like a third of it. So, you know, you kind of line it with the top one here. Yeah, most likely this one doesn't have thick lips, so you don't have to go as high. But you know, some lips are either like bushy on top, kind of like this. Some of them have like a very close to the center, and then like a very sharp bottom turn. you know, sometimes you gotta. Sometimes also genetically speaking, it's also in the form of race too. So that's the other thing to keep in account. You know, like standard would be like white here and like black at the bottom. That's like the simplest way I could say it. And I'm not saying that racially speaking, but I'm just saying like, you know, genetically speaking, like, you know, that's like that's just how that's just the way it is. Sorry. So, you know, we'll move these down just so I could kind of keep it going. We're gonna put it right here, and we'll put this on top. I don't like that. I'm just trying to make sure everything's organized what we're doing. So, you know, then this would kind of roll its way down to like this edge here. This edge here doesn't have to exist, but it's just like a stopping point for you to get the idea. The main thing about breaking these parts up is like making sure you get the idea. Like if you're making something brand spanking new, like if you're not copying a picture from memory and stuff, like if you're drawing your favorite anime, you're drawing a friend, then you know that's when it's like, well, okay, that's cool. But if you're just drawing out of nowhere, then I mean, a lot of this stuff will make sense. But if it's like stuff like, you know, custom lips and stuff like that, that's kind of a more of like, you know, you're drawing something and you just gotta know the idea. You know, you just gotta know the construct and stuff like that. You know, this person's kind of like a type of thing. Like, it's not crazy and stuff. So the lips also at the bottom wouldn't be. So generally speaking, the bottom lip should usually be bigger on the top. Usually, there's some lips like I think mine's evenly proportionate, so it's kind of like as thick as the top to the bottom. But like there's some lips like white people, for instance, like some. Remember, some. I'm saying genetically speaking, as a general whole, the top lip is usually as thinner than the bottom. But you know, it usually kind of goes that way. So we'll give this one a little bit of a bigger lip. Remember, quarter. I'm just going by memory, so like a quarter. So this would be the middle section, and then you know it sways back up, and then kind of go there. I will go down to the underlayer, or we'll go to the underlayer. This will be kind of like the bottom indent, because when you like, if I look to the side, the lip here kind of goes on, like kind of goes at a curvature, and then it goes to the chin. So it's kind of like, oh, it's kind of go like this and this. You can kind of just get like a feeling of like it going at an angle. So, you know, we're not going to worry about hair yet, because hair, I think it's also its own thing. Since it's realistic, I think hair would take a little bit more time. But we'll do another one for hair. Actually, I'm just going to give a color palette here, so give me a second. So we're going to have red here. We'll put that on top of the layer. And then we'll have a blue one for another example. Oop. And we'll put blue here. So this one's like a Technic red, Technic blue. So like this blue, for instance, would be like I just gotta make sure I'm at. Okay, I know where I'm at. All right. So actually, I'm gonna put this in a group just to organize it. So I'm just gonna name, just so you guys know, you know, obviously sketching gonna be different. I'm making it a little bit more easier for myself. So we're gonna call this red. That entire section's red. So everything right above me, that stuff will be red. And actually, now that I think about it, I'm gonna move myself on the top and a little smaller. Actually, no, I'm gonna move myself in the middle with the color palette and stuff, because the color palette's almost irrelevant. Or not the color palette, the balance, just so you can see the layers in the drawing. That's like the main thing. And me, obviously, because how you doing? So that's the top. There's an empty one. This is the empty one. So this is the one I just created. So this one's just gonna be for the hair. So, you know, since you got the head construct, you just kind of have to think where the body is. So it's kind of like at an angle. So it would kind of go like sway like this. Remember, sketch all the time. It's always gonna be a sketch. Even when you're bored, it's a sketch. So, you know, you can kind of get an idea depending on how the hair is. I'm not gonna detail the hair, but like whatever it is, you just gotta know like the construct of like the head deception and perspective. And since this one's going towards the front, you kind of like not make it as curved, because it's kind of like this, like this is one side and this is the other, and you know, you kind of could decide where the forehead is. I'm gonna bring this up a little bit, where the forehead is and stuff. This will be the forehead. And, you know, if you have like a short hair, you kind of just gotta work with perspective at that point. So you know, we don't need this right now, but that's the idea. All right, we're gonna continue here. Now that we got like the lip and stuff like that, you know, we go down here, and then it would kind of pop here. If you overdraw it or underdraw it from your original sketch, you just keep drawing until you make it work better. So like, we'll bring this down even lower, bring this down a little lower, so it's like a quarter of it. We're gonna make it enough to be settling, but not to distinct itself. And then we'll make a fourth one, which is gonna be another form of sketching, which would be like, okay, this will be kind of like a form of like the head. So like since we got a lot of it sketched down, you can kind of get a visual, depending on how you want to do it. Like, you know, obviously when you're drawing with pencil, it's gonna be a little bit more noticeable to draw everything. So we'll like faintly draw everything. And this is how bright it is. So since you got an idea, you can kind of like do another for the digital people, I think you could also kind of just resketch over it and stuff, just to make sure it's finalized and good. With the other ones, depending on how far, remember, as the lighter it is, but as it's when you're drawing on paper, because you know you're not doing layers and stuff like that. If you could just draw and make sure lightly enough where you could just tell it apart by yourself, that's good enough. As long as you're able to differentiate, that's all that really matters. So I actually don't like that nose. Since it's a sketch, we don't have to worry about that. Me, I can just backtrack, but if you're drawing on pen or on pencil and stuff like that, then you could just kind of like erase it and stuff. Just, you know, you gotta be a little bit more careful when it comes to erasing. So, you know, this person probably looks like he doesn't have like a very big nostril, so, you know, it would kind of be like right here, kind of like at this angle, and then the bottom would kind of be here, and the other end would be like kind of like hanging on the side. By the angle it looks and stuff like that, that's where it would be at. You know, obviously, the eye's probably gonna be a lot better. So like when you're drawing and stuff, it's kind of like this is the one side and then this is the other, and the eye's in the center, and it just like sinks in. That's another way you can do it. You can kind of like do it like a 3D aspect. I do that every so often. Not this time. I don't recommend it. I mean, it's a pretty cool concept when you are techno enough to kind of get used to, but I don't recommend it on your like first, you know, if you're not, I guess you could say tech savvy enough, or you could just get used to. So, you know, half, you can just kind of like go off the top and the bottom. So that half's going to be a lemon drop. Because, you know, you have the area that has like a little, there's like an air, I like to say the air gap between the eyes, because, you know, the eye ends like right over here, because it's just a round ball and stuff like that. So, you know, you would just kind of make the lemon here, and then you'll make the teardrop on the other end. Depending on your body construct, that's like the simplest form. Obviously, you know, like I kind of would make it a little bit more, I would kind of go back on it and make it detailed, but for time restraints, I'm just kind of going to make this ugly person without hair, because, you know, Saitama's around, and Saitama's freaking killing it. You know, we'll kind of go off of here from the previous construct. Draw the eye a little bit lower, lemon on one side, and teardrop on the other. And, you know, the eyes are two different sizes, and yes, it is true, when you get deception, you're usually gonna have to make one bigger than the other, but there's moments where you're gonna have to notice that like it is significantly bigger. I'm gonna just draw this bigger just to make sure I got the eye and the shape. So yeah, this person looks disgusting. I love it. So, you know, the center is like right here, so we could kind of have it where their eyes are a little bit surprised, because there's never really indentation unless they have like a lot of folds. So I presume this person would have a little bit of folds just from the facial construction. And, you know, actually, quite speaking, I don't like that the size of that eye. So you know you would lightly erase it on your end, just enough where it's out of the way, and I would kind of draw it a little bit higher. You know, eye droplet, or lemon droplet. That's my way of remembering. Don't have to have a perfect circle because you know you're not done. As long as it's decently close to what you had in mind and you're almost done with it. Since the person's smiling, it probably has like small dimples, so we could probably like get an indentation going. It's usually hard to draw dimples because sometimes when you draw dimples, or at least when I sometimes draw dimples, it kind of make it look like they're like at an age. So you know, if you ever do that, then you would just make it as faint as possible. Kind of like this or something. You don't have to exactly draw this part. Sometimes when you're shading, you don't draw that part, but it's just to get the idea from like building it up. So after I finish this, I'm just gonna recap how we did it and stuff in the most like quick timed event as possible. I think I'm just gonna do the head and the body, and you know, if you guys want to continue, I could do like the hands or the feet and stuff like that. Because I'm actually getting a little tired, so we'll just go from the middle lip. Sometimes if you're on at an angle, sometimes they have a little bit of perk at the base here, like the center, so you kind of perk that up. You know, 1/3 on the top and 1/4 at the bottom. On the outside. Okay, that was a terrible drawing. Okay, alright. So, you know, excluding this one's the middle. So the 1/4 would kind of start here. The second 1/4 will stop in here. The third will go in here. And the fourth will be at the end here. You know, obviously going by reference. So it goes from the edge and it sways down. Sometimes you don't need to go touch the end, or sometimes you just need to touch this end. So yeah, you would swoop down and it would be kind of, you know, symmetrical, and then it will slowly come its way up. You know, when you're going from this way, it doesn't really matter which way you go, but you kind of go here, and then depending on where that like area ends, then you kind of get the idea of where it is. So the lips are a little smaller. So we're not actually gonna go back. See, remember, if you know what you're gonna draw, then you know how I'm doing it is gonna be a lot more easier, because you know what you're about to draw. So I'll bring it down, and then you bring it up, and you kind of go up at an angle. You know, just going to give it a little indentation. And instead of that chin going down here, I'm going to slowly connect it. So we're going to go from the base here because it looks kind of more... It looks more... It's weird because we're not drawing a specific person, but you could kind of draw the chin here. And you could kind of draw a bit more detailed. So it's like coming around here. You just kind of follow it this way, like at an angle. And then it slowly makes that cheek that exists in the background, and then you can kind of draw your way up. Anything you draw that helps with making the shape will also help you when you actually put the details into it. So you know, like right here on the eyes and stuff, this part usually is like stops like at the indent of the eye, and then it starts like forming like the cheek, the jawline, and all that, depending on if your character is cheeky or if like very toned texture, which, you know, depends on the person. So, you know, we kind of go over here. We're just kind of gonna we're gonna kind of just draw like a simple sketch of the ears. It's kind of depending on age. That one is also different, but it's like top. It's like right here, and then it usually, depending on how it is, it would have like a flap on this end. And there's two types where there's like one where it rings and then connects. And there's some that's actually just like kind of just connects, so that's also dependent. You know, depending on character genetics and all that. You know, you kind of go here. You can kind of just get a reference off of ear, because you know that's one of the things that's like you could just know to draw, but you know you can just go on the internet. I mean, it's not gonna hurt you. Take a picture of your ear. Hopefully, don't do that. You know, this one's at an angle, so it's kind of flatter. It's gonna be round at the top because it's kind of getting cut off by the end here. But it's going to be a little bit flatter here at the end, doing the same thing, and it'll cut off also. You know, it's going to be like this, and it's going to be like everything but flatter. because it's at instead of like an angle like this, like this, it's kind of like an angle like this, so it's like flatter, but everything's still there. And we'll just go by the eyebrows, which will kind of conclude the head, and it kind of goes at an angle on the top of it, so you know how it's kind of formed here. We can kind of like put a little under over action depending on their expression too. Will also be it. So you know we'll probably make it a little thinner and stuff just to be quote unquote realistic. At this point, this person just looks weird. And then you kind of align this part to here, and then you can kind of get an idea off of here, and you know just kind of draw to the sizing and stuff. And you know then there's like the head. You know, if you have hair, then you have to do this, but if it's like bald, then you just kind of follow the top head of the shape. You know, this one doesn't have eyelashes now, but you know, if it's also by age, then you have a lot more physique info, so you kind of will sketch a general idea, and then you can kind of put like wrinkles and stuff. You know, you just kind of faintly do it, and then you just start seeing what works best, and then you start finalizing it. But you only start drawing harder when you're good and certain that is better of a sketch. Either draw harder or you draw with a different like brush or like a pen. That's how I used to do it. And erasing everything down, that would be like my terrible final way. Like if you kind of like look back. I mean, obviously if I look, I could be like, you would kind of look back and be like, ew, the eye is kind of disgusting like here. Like, you can use something where you kind of cut half and half. So you can be like, that looks great, and that one looks weird. So, actually, the back eye looks a little weirder. So, you know, you would casually like, erase it and stuff. You know, you're going to probably erase more things than meets the eye, so you can kind of redraw that line. And you can kind of see if that line kind of cuts through. And if it doesn't, then you can kind of just form the line. You know, and then you form this line, like an axis. Then this lemon, depending on the eye and stuff, it doesn't look as big. And then the teardrop. That's just a simple version of the eye. Obviously, when you have more physique, then you'll put a little bit more flavor to your kicks and stuff. And you know, you would kind of erase the background, and it's not the best, but you know, a sketch got to start somewhere. So you know, like the simple shape construct. It really changed from where we was at before. Like it went from this way to this way, but that's kind of like my crash course of drawing the head. Now we're gonna actually move these two on the other side just in case I want to talk about something. So we're gonna drag these to the body. So you know the head does exist. We'll leave that there. You know, we'll just do like I'm debating if I should do a quick sketch. Actually, no, I think I'm good. I'm just gonna cut off. I'm just gonna make them really distant. So this is faint. This is faint. This is fairly unfaint, and we'll make this one actually a little harder since it's the finished product. All right, now let's start with the body. Red head. Not redheads, but so I'm just, for the people that know, I'm just writing redheads. And we're gonna make another one for the body. How long have I been on? Just curious. Oh, 48-minute tutorial. Fun. So since you know how to draw the head, I'm just not even gonna wait. I'm just gonna kind of jump to conclusions. Obviously, I've been turning at an angle, but that's like kind of like a tilted. So we're just gonna draw a random head because you know at this point it's kind of ideal. So we'll draw this one. We're gonna just call this line art. Like you know, obviously you don't have to do it. Like if it was me and I was drawing, I would draw everything at once. But you know, I'm just kind of gonna draw the head. I'm not gonna make a good head. I'm just gonna make it decent enough. So we'll just make a character. So we don't have to get details. I'm just going like a stick figure or something. Give him like, I don't know. No, that's like a cigar. No, I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna put like the nose on him. We're gonna put the eyes. Since he's like a I like to say a he's like a person but a chibi character. We'll give him like a ears or something like that, like kind of lower and stuff, just to kind of give it a little bit more distance. So we'll probably give him some like weird hair. So we're gonna probably go like this, and kind of like go up and stuff. I mean, this is just preference. So you know, you obviously don't have to do this, but so you know, that's just some random head that we drew. So you know, that's our finalize. So that's just a staple. That doesn't have to change. We'll put it out of here. So we'll put the line art there. So we'll call this red body. So we're gonna make it faint because it's a sketch. So we'll go down here. So when you look at the body and stuff like that, let me freeform myself. Let me actually reform myself kind of a little bit more comfortably. All right, we're gonna do the body, and I think I'm just gonna end the stream. But you know, since he's like a kind of a cutish character, I'm thinking like he's gonna have a decent sized torso. Like usually, like for the I will draw on the side here. Like you know, you have the body, and then like you would actually have a line. Sometimes you have a line, just to depend on how like the spine and stuff will look, and then you know you have like the legs here, depending. So this would be like the neck. So if this was like the bottom of the chin and stuff, this would kind of clarify where the neck is and stuff. And then you know you kind of make like a box depending on like, you don't have to worry about characters' physique and stuff, but it's just to get like where the body construct is. We're gonna move this to the side. That one's a little bit relevant. So I'm thinking he's casual, so he's probably gonna have, he looks younger too, so he's gonna have like a size shoulder, so it's not as big. And I think I'm gonna make him kind of look like he's like, probably has hands in his pocket or something. That's what I'm gonna do. So you know he's kind of at an angle, so we're gonna make this go down, and then we'll bring it bigger at the bottom, so it looks like he's kind of like leaning back. And then we'll just kind of go like this. We're not gonna detail it, but you know, yeah, we're gonna like kind of like do it like this. Like he has weird legs. I mean, right now it's just a preference. You know, you like the chest would kind of be like right here. This would be broken down where the chest is. So this is like his chesticle area. This would be like the stomach. And this part would be like the torso. And then, you know, that would break off into the legs and stuff. Usually the torso is usually going to be lovely proportionate to like the stomach. So like this would be the torso, and like these would be the legs. And you can kind of get an idea off of that. If I drew like arms, usually arms would be like kind of a little bit over and stuff. But you guys can already see that it's kind of like the shape of legs and the shape of like a shirt or a torso. That's just kind of like the simple construct. Obviously, if you have a character like him, like, you know, you can kind of see that, like, he doesn't look like he has that big of a body. So we'll, like, erase a lot of this, and we'll cut it a lot smaller. You know, you could zoom out, or you can kind of, like, just look back. You kind of just draw at a distance, because there's a sketch here now. So, you know, he probably has, like, a smaller torso. So he's kind of going to have that inward look. So, you know, kind of draw that inward. This part's like the indent, the chest, the stomach. And then, like, the torso will be where the pants start. So we'll draw, like, something like this or something like this. It looks like this leg kind of popping out. So right here. And, like, this area is, like, right under. So. And so we'll actually draw the neck here. So it's, like, kind of connected towards the center. And we'll draw a circle like right in the middle of the axis of these lines, with the top end touching the top part over here, because that's gonna be like the shoulder. So we're not gonna draw any flesh or anything like that, but I could say that he probably has a decent, you know, you gotta kind of visualize what sizing you want to do. You could kind of we could kind of experiment with it and stuff, but you know, this would be like kind of like the arms and stuff. Like, like the I'm doing like a, you guys can see everything. This like the elbow would kind of be like right at stomach height usually. So we'll do like a circle here, which would kind of be like, oh, the joint, and then, oh no, my tools, and then we'll kind of go over here. We're just gonna do a circle here, go to like the base here where you think the pants are gonna be. You know, this is kind of like, you could kind of go with just a skeleton of it, and then you would make another layer. Next, you know, actually let's not go that far yet. Let's go all the way up to like the pants or something. So you know, the pants would kind of be like the torso, kind of like a torso height, and like kind of like a half, depending on the legs. It's kind of like a half to like 3/4, give or take, from the halfway point. And then depending on shoes, like you could kind of just look at the face and be like, he's gonna have like kind of like around his shoes and stuff. You could kind of like get an idea. Some people have like small feet for characters, and some people have like bigger ones, like kind of like here, and they kind of go to the angle and stuff. So you know, that was kind of my shortened version. Now that we got a light sketch of the body, we're not gonna draw like clothes yet, but we're gonna draw a little bit more, I like to say, physique. So you know, like this would be the neck, like maybe like you're drawing the flesh. So I think the neck is kind of decently sized. Like he's a fairly youngin but strong. So we'll go here to give off like shoulder blades. You can kind of like go here. You could, if you want, you could kind of draw like, you draw physique, like, you know, the connection between the two joints here would be like right here. So ligaments here would kind of go by. We don't have to get that detailed because it's just a sketch, but it's just so you can get the idea. So as long as, like, imagine you drawing the arms next, but very lightly. So like this the torso, and it's like a over and under and stuff like that. Then this will be kind of like the cutoff for the pants, and then this will be the same for him. So like, you know, this is just the shape construct to get the idea of what you want to draw. And then sometimes people will do it where like they actually draw the character's physique a lot more efficiently in the second part, which they draw like stuff like this. You know, and then we'll go over and under here because it's at an angle, and then we'll actually go over around since it's at its own angle, and then you kind of draw back. This will be the, you know, this would have been the torso here. And you know, now that I look at it, I kind of want to give him like a little bit more of a skinnier look. So remember, keep the basin as the base, and if you want, you could kind of like draw like the center, like maybe like some sides and stuff, depending on how you want to do it. It depends on how you want to be able to mold it. Everyone has a preference. I'm just showing the one that most commonly is used. Like he would have like a short chesticle. Sometimes I draw like a short, a very light version of like what he would look like without a shirt or something. Then, you know, he would kind of go down. You know, he would kind of go down from the inside, and then he will go back out. Just not as much. It's just a form of masculinity, so he's not as like muscle bound. You know, this would have been where the stomach would have been, or a six pack if you're, you know, you draw that kind of stuff. I mean, it depends on what you draw. You know, you kind of, it's just a simple idea. But knowing this character, how he looks, knowing this character like I drew him before, you probably wouldn't have that much physique, depending on your detail of the you just gotta keep in mind what you're drawing. He's probably gonna have a decent, a little tummy, but not a lot. This baseline where you draw the torso would be also the baseline where you draw the pants, because that's where the torso here will be kind of like the starting point where the pants are kind of like, I may draw his pants his bands paggy, perfect. English, yes, English 100. So you know, usually the beginning portion is like the belt. You know, you would kind of make another underlining. There would be like, you know, if you want to get detailed, then there's like the little flaps that you hold the belt with. Probably like 2 here, and then when it keeps going around, it slowly goes around. And if you have the belt, then you have 2 in the middle, and like the line, depending on how thick, how big you make it. And then the ring around to kind of hold them 2 together. Since his pants are baggy, I should have grabbed some water before I got here. You know, this would have been like, you know, the flap to the zipper. So his pants are probably gonna be a little bit more baggier and stuff. He kind of looks like he could be sagging and stuff. You know, obviously, if you didn't like, you know, if you, that's the thing. I'm kind of cool with where I'm at. But if you're at this step where you're drawing the body and you don't like the construct, and if you don't like this part, then you know you could kind of just erase it and kind of like redraw it from the head down. If you're doing the head and body, you draw everything all at once. So you just draw like the head and stuff like that before you get to like detailing. You draw like probably like the head first, depending on how far away it is from the canvas. Like if it's a like a high quality, like if you're going closer to this instead of like zoomed out like this, then you draw like as much as you can here, and then use the construct from the head to make the body. If you could finalize the head and be like you like the head, then you can look at the head and get a reference on what the body is. That and what you know you're gonna use. I had to make sure that I was using the right mic, because if I was using a bad mic this whole time, I would have been so mad. I'm gonna see if they tell me first before I continue. Yep, I'm using the snowball. I had to make sure I was using the right mic because I literally set that up. So we're gonna go back to the baggy pants. So, you know, remember, sketching. I'm basically showing you all the sketch. I'm not really drawing the finalize. So, you know, I think his pants would kind of pop out first, and then since it's getting smaller and stuff, it'll be towards the ankle of the leg, which is a lot smaller than the waist combined. So, you know, you can kind of follow this and be like, all right, this would be kind of where the head is. Sometimes the pants are baggy. Depending on the type of pants, the pants at the base of the foot would be baggy. And then, like, the kneecaps could be, like, sometimes smaller and stuff. You know, you would kind of go like this. Go right there. And all this is basically preference on what you make. You know, this would be kind of like that. And, you know, if you want, you can kind of actually sketch, like, foldings. Just think, like, where it would be at. Like, most likely the folds will be, like, right at the base of the leg because, you know, gravity allows it where it holds here and it holds it and it's slowly pulling down. So this area won't be as baggy, but it will still have folds and wrinkles. So you just kind of think what makes sense, and sometimes you just kind of continue it and stuff like that, or you could kind of like break it off and kind of go over. But then you also got to remember, the style you're drawing in will also depend on how realistic it looks. This character's a semi because he isn't real, but he has a real body, but this is also a cartoony look. So the cartoony look for the realism works with this character. We'll just give him normal shoes. Like, we'll just give him a heading. We won't even tie it. Like, we'll go with the base because that base looks kind of just decent enough. We'll pop this out so it looks like the sole of the foot. And we'll kind of go over here. We're not looking for real perfect the first try. These are all sketches, so you know you would kind of go back and be like, oh yeah, those shoes are good. All right, so we're gonna redraw it a little bit more detailed since we got more of the fleshing. You know, if he was making he was doing like something like this, or if you wanted to add a shirt, then you're still on the sketching stuff. So if anything, I could still go back and be like, you know what, we're gonna have his like shirt kind of go from up here, and we'll kind of go from down here because this will be where the neck is at. The neck stops, so you just go off of there and then you go off the other end, just by simple preference. And then you design it. You just got to know the design and then kind of work with wrinkles. You know, this would kind of go down a little bit naturally. Sometimes there's like one wrinkle. Sometimes there's like just one wrinkle. And you just follow the torso and stuff. And depending on gravity or if it's windy, then, you know, sometimes it will just hold on one side. And then it would like flap over to the other. And this part would be the shirt. So you would draw the lining and stuff. And most likely the shirt's going to be just fine on the top. Like the torso, since it looks like it shapes him, the torso is going to be just fine. The lower end is kind of where the flaps and wrinkles will start beginning, depending on like the look. So like, you know, he's all right. He's kind of a toned. It would kind of go over, under, sometimes over here. you just gotta, you know, just kind of not randomize, but just get a general sense of where things would be at. So, the shirt will be over here and stuff. You know, he's kind of he has a small shirt, but in baggy pants. So, if anything, I think I would be done. So I'm actually gonna make it gray to show the finalized like product. So we'll bring this down too, just enough for you to pop it out. So we'll just kind of we'll draw like the neck here, the shoulders. I think I might make it simple, but if you make it detailed, I'll kind of draw a little bit both. You know, this would kind of go over and stuff. You know, you would just, this is where you if you're certain you're done with like the sketching, then you kind of do the details. It would kind of go over. Sometimes you think at the last second, and you know, I would be like do that, but sometimes I would say use the sketch first before you go by. Some people draw like the finalized idea, and I'm included in those people. Draw like the idea they had to finalize and it doesn't work, but you already finalized it, so it's like bad. So he doesn't have like a small waist, but he does have like the flaps at the bottom half. So we'll just kind of do this. We'll kind of go here. Maybe we'll put a little flap here. Sometimes you know, just kind of draw it. You know, if you have like the idea, then you kind of just drew it and all that. So you know, you draw that. Go to the the stomach is kind of like right over the belt. So like, you know, if you do something like it's drawn over, then it's cool. But yeah, okay, we'll just put like a little here. And since the arms connect to the pants, you can either do one of two things. You can either draw from the arm and just be like, you know, you would zoom out and be like, oh yeah, that fits. That fits the character. Remember, I drew this just from the head by itself. Then you would kind of like, he has like small arms. He has long arms, but they're short. And you know, with this look, I think I'm like, you know, I have decent arms, and I give him like a stronger forearm. So you know, I would kind of go off the reference here. Sometimes I might just break it off and kind of go like this. And one of the things I'm gonna point out with the hands is, like, this is gonna be a top view. Whenever you have the hands, the ankles, the wrist of the hand will be here. And when you're drawing the hand, it's like kind of shaped where it's like an offsetting square with a little bit on the side. So it would kind of be like this. So this like middle section will be like the connection to the thumb. And you know, you would break it off into 4 parts on the top end. Depending on how it is, this will be like 1 knuckle, this will be 1 knuckle, this will be 1 knuckle, 1 knuckle. The middle one is always the longest. So you just kind of have to walk out proportions, or like 3 folds for like the joints. I don't know why it took me so long. This one would be just under and around the same height as the third one. You could get scientific and like look at your fingers and stuff like that. It's like the ring finger, like away from it, that's like a little bit taller. So we'll draw that next. You know, this I would draw like a quick idea of the hand, and then the pinky is kind of like around the sides of the thumb. But you just kind of at that point you kind of work off a reference. So you just gotta make sure it's like 1/3 and it works. That's like a simple version. Like if we put the thumb, then it's kind of like 2 parts. Like kind of like that first section, like from this base to here, and then we'll connect the thumb. So that's like the simplest idea of drawing the hand, at least from the forward top. There's other ways to draw the hands, but that's like the simple way to draw, like this. Like I'm gonna take my glove off. Like kind of like this. That's basically how the hand looks. With the middle one, that's the highest here. The closest one to the thumb would be like the 3rd place, and this will be just in between the 2. So this one right here is in between the height of these 2. The pinky is around the same size as the thumb, and you know, that's usually kind of like the simple construct. Everyone's hands is different, every character's different, every style is different. You just got to be able to know what to take in and out of like this whole tutorial. Alright, so now that we draw the hand out the way, we're actually going to move it right. We're just going to move it right further down. We're going to keep the hand there. I'll keep all my references. So we'll just start drawing the torso. You kind of have to look at the other arm just to make sure it's decently proportionate. You know, if you ever wanted to get more specific, then if you're doing the pencil version, like if you're drawing pen and paper type of thing, then you're gonna have to pencil and paper. Then you kind of have to like put a little bit more physique and like kind of, be really faint about all the drawings and stuff like that until you're certain that it looks good from sketching standards. Then you draw what you need and what you don't. Switch the pen, darken up the brush or bristles and stuff. If you're doing it digitally, then you kind of just following how I'm doing it. There's always a lot of backtracking you could do. You just gotta remember to backtrack. This would be the joint and stuff like that. Sometimes you kind of like I did here. It's like a last second decision. I'm gonna simplify the belt, but like this would be on top because it's kind of like going over and under. This will be one end. This will be the other. Then we could go off of the belt here. This would be like one of the flaps. This will be another one of the flaps. You could draw the flaps along the way. And depending on the belt size, would be kind of like that. Over here, since it's baggy pants, his hands in there. Sometimes you can indent the hands in there depending on how you want to do that. And if you ever put like this, like I can also show the design on the shirt. Let me just finish the pants and the shoes. This part would be kind of down here. You also got to sometimes think of like perspective. So when you think of the perspective, you can actually understand like what to draw from the foreground to background, and sometimes what's important out of them. I'll draw like the zipper, and this is kind of like casual and stuff, so it's not like going inwards, but it's kind of like folded at the bottom, like I said before. Obviously you would have more of a better fold than I would if you are doing it, because you actually have a better idea of what you want to do. I went in here and be like, I'm just gonna see how I can teach people to draw. But for me, some of the drawings, other than making sure, like when I do like either realistic drawing of people, I did a drawing like of my friend, and that's an exact duplicate. It has to be made. So you just gotta kind of look and be like, all right, it's this far. You kind of have to visualize it unless you have like ruling preference and stuff. Drawing from an anime and stuff like that, you just gotta know the proportions from like the nose to like the big eyes to like the smile and stuff, the hair construct and stuff like that. And then I did one of Deku from My Hero Academia, and I drew him realistic. See, the only reason why that worked better was because I just had to think, what would that import look into from a realistic to like a non-realistic, and that's what gave it the freedom, because it's enough when you're ever like doing like a realistic version of a character. Most commonly, I like to think of it as like not like oh well, this is exactly what he would look like, but like this has enough physique and detail to tell you this is that character from that show. And that's what I did with Deku. And yes, it looked kind of weird, but he has like a very soft face and stuff like that, a very genuine smile, a lot, very nice. Yeah, it's like all this and that. His hair wouldn't be as wild as like mine. His hair would probably be more finer and stuff, just to get all the details out, because in realism, every strand counts. Or at least every shade counts. Now we're going to draw here. We'll do this to kind of give off a reference of the pants. We'll kind of base the top right here. We'll go from the bottom and we'll connect here. From the bottom up. Obviously, this ain't me at my best, but it's just the idea. We're going to do the flaps of the shoes. So I didn't draw that part because, sometimes either the shoe's under or the flap is over, so you kind of draw it kind of over depending. So you got to make sure this part and this part's kind of aligned a little bit. Then you kind of go from this end here, and then you go down. From the base, from the bottom, you do the same here. Sometimes you kind of go under and over. Depending on how thick the shoe is going to be like. You kind of stop there, kind of go down here. And, heck, I'll show you how to draw the shoelaces too. If you want to. Sometimes I just try to avoid as much as I can. You go draw over, under. Obviously, you kind of make it where you have the pacing. So, you would kind of draw the sole of the shoe. Sometimes people have design soles, so it's kind of like, oh, there's like this in the back or something like that. Draw this on this side, and then the sole will kind of go by. It's always a design choice. So you know, if you're drawing this shoe, it would kind of be kind of mirrored from the other part. So it would be like this. So you could kind of like circle the top part because that would be like the sole of the shoe. And you would go both one way, and then you would cross. Sometimes if you're sketching, you could kind of put a line in the middle if you go back to sketching it. And then, you know, you would go over again and over again, depending on how you do it. So it's like this part to this part. Then you go like this part to like this part you don't exist to, and then you go this part and like this part it connects. And that's like the idea of like constructing a body. You know, if you're doing like, you know, this would be kind of like the final product. Obviously the body's not as but you know, you see, you could kind of see him in that body and stuff. He has like a decent sized torso. I kind of unintentionally envision him in like baggy pants, and how his facial look is to his body. He looks like he would probably has his hands in his pockets, like really with a really disgust look. Now, if you're doing like a design on a shirt, sometimes you could just draw it like, you know, his shirt's flat, so I could draw like if I was doing stripes, then, you know, actually we'll change the color. We'll do like a purple, a pinkish purple. So, you know, if you're doing like a design on the shirt, then you can kind of go with like the flow of it. Sometimes you have like these stuff in the background, so you kind of go with it. But since you sometimes go like this to just follow like the flow of the lines and stuff. Like, you know, if you go like here, sometimes not drawing the line doesn't mean it won't exist, but it's just, you just gotta envision it. And, you know, like I'd probably draw like another one here, so it looks like suspenders, which would also go just great with the baggy pants. So then this will be kind of higher and stuff. So, you know, now he has design, and the design goes with the thing, so it looks like it's not just plastered on there, but it looks like it's going with the folds, which it should. And there was one more thing I was gonna do. I'm trying to remember what it was. I can't even remember what other thing I was gonna do. Okay, so I drew the arms and stuff, the belt, the pants. Well, yeah, that's like the idea. So, like, you know, for the head, if it ever goes to doing both the head and the body, you draw. So, you know, this drawing was just kind of quick and stuff, but, you know, depending on how much detail you put from the distance it is, you would draw like the head first. Jeez, how do we go from this to this? Then we got like the body over here. So this is kind of like, this is like basically the final thing. The lips, you know, with the head, you just go with the shapes first. Then you kind of start breaking it down, like use the line in the middle from the beginning portion, the middle to the side. Get the sides. You draw kind of like the shape of the head, the idea shape. You kind of work with the middle of the line and the line of the axis of how many you put in there. At very minimum, it's 2, and that 2 is kind of like in the middle, bottom of the circle you start with, which would also indicate like where the nose would be. You would draw the nose next. That character has a ginormous nose. I'm not gonna even complain about it. But you would go with like the nose, and then you use that nose to kind of just imagine where the center would be. Then you would kind of align it with the eyes, and you lose the eyes to align with the ears, eyes to the eyebrows, nose to the lip, to like the infold right at the bottom here, then the chin. You just kind of, you center with the nose idealistically, and then you kind of just start spreading out the idea. And then, you know, after you're done with the head, then you draw like the sketch of the hair and stuff like that. So whatever you do see and you don't see, you just use it and don't use it. You know, and that would be the head. If it's just a body, you kind of just go by. I'm going to explain both of them, and then I'll be done with this. So with the body, you start with just, you know, if you have like me with the head just there, then you kind of just draw like the form of the shape where you think the torso is going to be kind of like, the torso is going to be like a certain size, and then the pants are going to be like a size and like a half, like a size and a half to half size and a quarter, generally speaking. And then, like, you know, that first sketch is just the shape of the body, like how it's formed, how it's textured. Sometimes you just kind of lenient a bit just so you can get the idea. The second part will be kind of more like The second part's like kind of like if you're drawing the flesh and stuff like that. So you draw like the body atonement, like how it's shaped and formed and stuff, from like the wrists to like, you know, the arm, shoulders, from like the head portion. You just draw like that, the neck, the shoulders, and, you know, the stomach, the legs, the feet, all that and stuff like that. And then like the hand on the side, like right over there, like the hand, you can also kind of do that the same way. And then, you know, you would finalize it by actually drawing it when you're actually comfortable with everything you see, which is the same with the head. And, you know, since this one has like details on like the shirt and stuff, then you could also sketch like a design on the shirt, which will also be just as fine. And then, you know, if you ink it and stuff like that and you erase it, then it would kind of like have something like this kind of look, or at least to the final offer. I mean, if you're drawing a pencil, then it's kind of have a faint distance. So before I go, if you're drawing the head and body, you just kind of do it at the same time. Usually you would focus on the head first, like don't finalize the head, but you would sketch the head until you're content with it, and then you sketch the body to go with it. So you would draw the head all the way up until you actually line art it down. Then you do everything on the body, and you just kind of start sketching its way up too. Because if you got the idea of the head, then you get a better idea of the proportions of the body and stuff. If you try to do it all at once, then, you know, you draw the line, then you draw the line going to the stomach, then sometimes it's kind of altered. So if you at least break it down, as long as you break it down into parts, break it down into shapes, that's like the general idea to draw the head and body and stuff like that. And that's like my way to show you guys how drawing is done. This is like a simple idea and stuff like that. So this is gonna be my end of the video and stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe. I actually plan on bringing a friend over to play a game with, and he's a close friend. And this time it won't be a live stream, but it will be edited, because that friendship with my friend is really meaningful. So, and he not saying he did bring it up to that, but he influenced me to like make like better drawings and just make like a story of any sort. So I'm gonna try to bring him over. We'll do a video together, and whatever game we pop over, I hope you guys enjoy it, because we have a really great dynamic, and I think he'll be just fine with coming with videos and stuff. Oh, how you doing, Nathan? Welcome to the end of the stream. I am so sorry. But yeah, I hope you guys like, comment, subscribe, and before I go, does anyone have any questions for like the two people that's here? Okay, one person. If you have any questions before I go. And if not, then I'll just be on my way. I'm actually gonna make a burger today. I eat burgers. Now let's see if I can make one. It's probably gonna be the worst burger, but it's alright. Any questions? Any questions, since there's another person here? Any questions for like any of the drawing tutorials for today? Like, I might have to do like a quick recap, because I haven't ate breakfast. I am hunger of dying. Alright, I'll give it like 30 seconds. I'm just gonna give it 30 seconds, just in case you guys do have a question, and sometimes there's a delay too. Where I see the time and stuff. So if not, then I'll just end the stream. I'm 15 seconds in. I'm just, you know, I'm just trying to make sure you guys have the time to hear it and then type it, and then, you know, then I can go into details. But if not, then, you know, 4, 3, 2. All right. Well, I guess that'll be it. Once again, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Planning for a friend to come by so we can do a video that will be edited, and I will make it look great. And I hope I see you guys later. Maybe I'll do the video of drawing hands and feet. I mean, there's like a tiny one like right up there. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys around. Peace. Also plan on doing the live streams. Final Fantasy is next. Then Ocarina, and then if I want to, I'll probably jump back to My Hero. Alright, see you guys.